So one of the things we both watched this week was the Ted Bundy tapes. Oh my
Talk about a dark boot.
Moving into a little bit of darkness before we're gonna round the show out with some discussion of veganism. So don't worry, it's okay. You're gonna be just fine. Plus, we're coming at you from Dubai.
Did Ted Bundy eat any? Was there any cannibalism with Ted Bundy? He bit. I mean, I know he bit, but did he chew?
Okay. That's funny because as I was watching it too, I was like, wait, did he? I also was wondering if he had cannibalized anyone.
Because the one thing that the documentary did not do, which my husband was incredibly disappointed. Yeah. Apparently he likes a little gore in his shady boot. Was talk about like the depths of the depravity and what he did to the people.
Yeah. So,
which I think did include, I know it included necrophilia.
At the very end, it mentioned that it included necrophilia. And in the last hours, he admitted that he had severed some of their heads. And then there was this evidence about the bite mark. One of the things that I thought was interesting about this, I had a lot of thoughts about it. But before I forget this one, I want to mention that I thought it was interesting that when Ted was defending himself in court, he cross-examined a witness and then asked the detective to like recount the gory details, which you're right, the documentary doesn't display that. I'm kind of grateful for that. And he like relished in it. Made him, it certainly didn't make his case at all, but he got off on it.
Yeah, and that was so inappropriate. So completely inappropriate. Inappropriate.
Okay, one of the things that happened I like that.
My daughter taught me that at the age of 14. Mom, that's inappropriate.
Yes. I'm using it all the time. One of the things that, first of all, I have never been more sure that Michael from the staircase pushed his wife down the stairs than I am now that I've watched the Ted Bundy tapes.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Share with me the connection.
Here's why. Both of these guys are complete narcissists. Both of them were obsessed with the media attention. Like, okay, I really don't know much about the Ted Bundy experience other than I was familiar with the Chi Omega murders only because I rushed to sorority and there was a Chi Omega on my campus. I remember telling my mom like that I was thinking about going Chi Omega and she was like, oh, the Ted Bundy murder, I was like, oh, well, I mean, it was way far away, right? But whatever. So I did not know much about Ted Bundy, but apparently he was, according to the documentary, and I'm sure accurately, he escaped twice from jail in Colorado just by like basically walking out the door. Talk about one of the things that resonated for me about that, like, I was like, oh my God, talk about privilege of just being able to blend in and like being good looking and not looking like a serial killer and then being able to just walk out of jail.
Yeah. I mean, it really got my husband's feathers ruffled, to be really honest. He was very ruffled about that.
Like, about the fact that he escaped?
Well, just about the fact that if you're charming enough and if you have the right look and you happen to be like an attractive white man who can charm people, that people could be so let their guard down so much to it.
I know. It was one of the first thoughts I had while I was watching it. It was so strange. And the reason that I wanted that made me think
the reason I didn't get on that because Joey was the one who got on that. I was like, I'm like, see, people just fucking suck at their job. I didn't take it deeper than that.
There was a lot of incompetence going on.
People just fucking suck at their job. Like these people are probably on Twitter. Like
well, the documentary did say like, it was before bureaus were really talking, cross-jurisdictional communication really wasn't happening. But I agree. There was like a lot of like really lazy work, it sounds like, being done. But the thing that made me think about Michael from the staircase.
If that were a black man, he would not be chilling in the law library all by himself
with
next
no
to a window that opens.
Right, wearing regular clothes. He'd be orange jumpsuit.
Definitely about privilege, for sure.
Yeah, totally. So what made me think about Michael from the staircase was that, okay, so the first time that Bundy gets away, he's in Aspen and he's on the run for like 10 days or something. And then he comes back into town. Yeah. Now in the documentary, he claims, I was disoriented. I didn't know what was going on. I am quite certain that he came back on purpose so he could revel in all of the press that was going on about him having escaped in the first place. And that was when I first got the hint of like, this guy is exactly like the guy from the staircase.
Right.
Who was just loving the attention, having the cameras follow him, being able to tell the cameras what to do, kind of like putting on a show for the cameras with his brothers about like making fun of all the stuff. I was like, oh, these guys are one in the same.
Yeah.
One in the same. Absolutely convinced.
Well, yeah, I mean, definitely with the narcissistic aspect, but Ted Bundy, he had to have some other layer of mental illness going on because of the number of murders and the way he described it. It was just like he had this, it was almost like a compulsion, like, I have to do it. I don't want to do it, but I have to do it. Because I do believe he probably did try to stop, but was compelled to do it.
And one of the things that kind of that bolsters that concept is the idea about the victim that got away, right? So there's one woman who gets away, and then 4 hours later he kills someone.
Badass bitch, by the way. Dang, girl.
She had one handcuff on. I was wondering if she whacked him with the other one. I can't remember, but she like jumped out of the car. She did everything. I mean, she
ran into another car.
She jumped into another car.
I am jumping in your car.
Yeah.
And she was also what I liked about her. What I told Joey is like she was, because I think even today, young women or people, but young women are not skeptical enough.
Yeah.
And even back then, and even with all his good looks and all that, she gave him a run for her money. Her radar went off, and she was skeptical, and she
trusted her
and
gut.
she said, "No, I don't want to go to your car with you first." And then she said, "Well, you have to show me a badge," and that. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive for like a 19-year-old girl who has somebody like of his stature coming up saying, "Look, I'm a cop. He's charming. He's trying to help." And she's just like, "Oh no, this doesn't play."
Weird.
And I'm gonna challenge you.
Yeah.
So she started from the jump different.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed with her.
Yeah, I agree. And so what happened was she got away, and then not even 4 hours later he had murdered someone else, and that really, for me, kind of cements that concept of like he was compelled by mental illness or whatever to murder. The other thing that I was thinking of is what else? Oh, was this reminding me a lot of West Cork as well? We listened to West Cork on Audible about, now that guy wasn't a serial killer, but I also think he was a murderer. Yeah. And he also just reveled in the attention. There is something about the narcissism that I'm basically an FBI profiler now.
Yes, you are. One of your many skills
is that there is a narcissism that comes along with homicidal mania.
There's also narcissism that comes along with like being president of the United States, being a good surgeon, being a good athlete. Yeah. So they're not all murderers, but they're all terrible partners.
Wait, what about this? Being a narcissist doesn't make you a murderer, but if you're a murderer, you're likely a narcissist? Is that how that tautology works or something?
We can't.
Not all narcissists are murderers, but maybe all murderers are narcissists.
Yeah, I don't know.
Fast and loose.
Jeffrey Dahmer a narcissist?
I don't know. There's definitely documentaries about him. He definitely was a cannibal.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could watch a documentary about him.
I could. Oh, hell yeah, I could.
Do we want to watch that next week? Nah, I don't know.
I think I don't think that the documentary's out. What is out is that movie.
Oh, okay.
Well, there is an old documentary. There's a couple old ones. I don't know. We'll update this.
We'll figure it out.
This is getting messy. This is getting real messy. We don't know about the Jeffrey Dahmer, but I could watch it. But from what I've learned about his background briefly, I don't know that he is a slam dunk narcissist.
Oh, Jeffrey Dahmer?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know.
He might not be.
I
play fast and loose with the facts, so I like the idea of murderers being narcissists, but you're probably right. There's probably something in the middle.
We'll ask the profilers.
We will. So the other thing that was really uncomfortable to watch about this, I thought, there were a lot of things about it that were uncomfortable to watch, but in the end, Ted Bundy is executed by the state of Florida.
Which is also... Okay.
Right. Which had me feeling some kind of way, right?
Had me feeling some kind of way.
Yeah, and the scene...
He does keep escaping, though, so maybe... If you can't keep him in a cell, what are you going to do? And you're in
just
Florida.
Gonna fry him up.
So you're kind of fucked up anyway.
Yeah. So what was really fucked up was all this like tailgate party that happened outside of the penitentiary where he was executed. I mean, it was really ugly to watch.
I have to insert a confession here. I fell asleep by this time.
Yeah, it was a 4-part documentary. It was pretty slow. And I actually thought it was going to be a lot of information about like these interviews that they did with him. But by the third episode, the interviewer was like, everything he gave us was garbage. We couldn't use any of it. So mostly it just turned out to be like a timeline of
Well, he started opening up when he started being able to use the third person and projecting. Right. And here's another great example of what we kind of touched on last week. Ted Bundy was a really smart guy, and he could string together really big words really well, which also impressed people and fooled them.
Yeah. And then he was and that's how he ended up being able to defend himself and act as his own attorney, which...
Watch out for people with all the pretty words.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say. Watch out for them. They don't make good partners either.
There
Narcissists and people with all the words. All the words.
All the words. Words to live by. Thank you, Sandy.
I'm also good at relationships.